you feel if we both sat together?
I'm only going to sit while I'm playing. I think I'm going to play on like 2 songs.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can sit.
I'm okay. I may sit like while you're talking.
It might be a Ken question. I think optics are important.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome, all of you who are here with us. It's so good to be together. My name's Rabbi Scott Goldberg. I'm here with Cantor Sarah Hass, and we're just really happy to be here for Shabbat Under the Stars. The stars will come out at some point tonight, and when they do, there are blankets in the back in case you forgot your own blanket or a coat or a jacket. And regardless, we're just all grateful that you're here with us here, or also here with us via live stream. We can even turn to the back and we can wave to the folks watching via live stream. And Shabbat Under the Stars, it's a special time. It's a moment when we can hear the Great Plains overhead. It only happens on Shabbat. Shabbat is a moment during the week when we can take a break from our daily lives. It's a moment in Jewish tradition that calls us forth to stop what we're doing, stop what we do per usual, whether it's work or volunteerism or be with our families, and take a moment for ourselves. We typically find ourselves in this culture of productivity or compulsive doing, and Shabbat is an opportunity to shift from doing to being. 20th century British psychoanalyst Masood Khan calls this state of being lying fallow. And he writes that lying fallow is this transitional experience, a mode of being that is alerted quietude and receptive, wakeful, lambent consciousness. What does lying fallow achieve for us? The answer is a paradox. A great deal and nothing, all at the same time. Lying fallow allows us to be with ourselves for who we truly are, with no distractions. It does a great deal for us, but it's also nothing. Before we enter into our service this evening, I'll invite us to turn to one another, someone maybe you know or someone maybe you don't know, and introduce yourself, wish one another a Shabbat Shalom, and then maybe share like one dream of if you were to lie fallow, if you were to be a part of this just being on this Shabbat, what are you going to do tomorrow or tonight just to lie fallow? And then we'll come back together in song.
I don't have my phone. Okay, I can't help you right now, but I will try to fix it later. Give it to Daddy to hold. Yeah, it's on. Page 10 in your prayer books, the words, Ma Yafeh Hayom. How beautiful is this day. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. I think everybody maybe just let's all just take a collective breath. Sometimes it's hard to remember to do that when life is a little bit chaotic and intense and full of unexpected things that just are. And we get to come into this time, into this moment of Shabbat, and we kind of get to put all that away and say, I'm here and I'm going to sit in this moment, and whatever else is going on outside of this place will still be going on when I walk out of it. So there's nothing I can do about it right at this very moment except be here and be present in this moment. And so I am going to share a poem by my very current favorite poet, Tanner Olson. I just need today to be easy. I just need today to be easy, for the rain to become sunshine, for regrets to stay far from my heart and mind, for the traffic to part and park, and for there to be more dogs than humans at the park. And I need today to be a day where I do better than rhyme park with park. And maybe today I won't spill or get an unexpected bill, and that pimple on my forehead will finally disappear. And today, when I think about the future, I won't begin to sweat from fear. And I don't need to see sirens in my rearview mirror. Give me all the green lights and smiles from strangers, but not creepy smiles, only smiles that remind me I can keep on going. And maybe today, wars will cease and you and I finally say, forgive me, please. And today, I won't overthink or underthink or forget to think, but everything will be perfectly thought out. And you'll text me back right away so I don't get lost in the wonder and wait. And I'll remember it's okay for me to be this weight. And today, I'll be on the couch by 8, unless we decide to stay out late. Like 9:30 late. And today, I just need the internet to correctly connect, and it would be nice to be shown some respect. And maybe today a piece of bread won't leave me feeling completely wrecked. And somehow, some way, nothing will chip or crash or crack, and that ongoing pain won't come back. And today will be the day I've been needing. And today we won't fight in the morning or afternoon or night, and we will finally fall asleep believing everything is going to be all right. And maybe today I'll get some good news like the cancer is gone or our neighbor decided to mow our lawn. And today I'll remember love has been written over my wrongs, and now the radio is playing our favorite song. And you and I will bless the rains down in Africa, and we know it's going to take time to do the things we never had, but we have time. And it's about time we have an easy day. And hopefully tomorrow, too.
Amen.
We will continue with our service on your supplemental page. On the bottom left of the page, L'chuna Ranena. Let's together sing a new song.
continue with Lecha Dodi, found on page 20 and 21. We'll recite verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 together, and upon verse 9, we'll rise and we'll face the entrance to our beautiful outdoor chapel. We'll join together on page 20, Lecha Dodi.
Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmianu el ha-meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad Leshem u'tiferet ve'litchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor haberacha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh v'machshavat tchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Verse 5 Hitoreri Ki va'orech kumi Uri Shir daveri Kevod Adonai Alayich nitla Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela We rise and face the entrance as we welcome our Shabbat. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam besimcha u'tola Tov emuneh am sekula Boi chala Lecha Dodi
Likrat kala
Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi
will stay risen in body and in spirit for the Baruch, which can be found on page 28. On page 30, we'll read together in English in the middle of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. We'll take a moment just to prepare mentally and spiritually for the Shema, which can be found on page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Our people Israel came out of the land of Egypt, a mixed multitude, the Torah calls it. A spray of dividing waters, sparkling diamonds all around them. We stood together at Mount Sinai according to the Torah, God, and in the presence of all the Jewish people. That's when Moses received the Torah. And all of us were there. Jews from the past, Jews in the present, and Jews in the future. Amid the rumble and ruckus that was all the thunder and lightning atop Mount Sinai. That shining image, that's how we were all created over and over again. We have wandered bleak landscapes, built flimsy tents of skins and then houses of stone. We have planted orchards and vineyards. We have seen 2 temples rise and fall. We have gone into exile. We have lost, and we have loved. We have grieved, and we have danced. We have transgressed, and we have done right. And we gather here in this community of our people, a mixed multitude. And it's as if we are chanting at the Sea of Reeds. We are singing our freedom. This is the story that our Mi Chamocha prayer tells. A story from slavery to freedom, a story from joy to transgression, back to joy again. And every time we sing Mi Chamocha, we get to experience that cycle of life, that cycle of love, and that cycle of togetherness one more time. We'll join in Mi Chamocha. It can be found on page 40.
Before I begin, this is a newer Mi Chamocha, not entirely new. We've done it several times. And I was looking at these books are really amazing that come out. They're called Ruach, and they're books that the Ruach is Transcontinental Music, which is the umbrella organization that publishes all this music. They put a compilation every year of really amazing new music. Now, this wasn't new. This was written about 13 years ago. But Josh Nelson, who was the composer of this song, they put a little, like a intention at the beginning of each of those songs. And it's so appropriate to what you just said, and I want to share it with you all before we sing it. He said, right now, this is now 13 years ago, just mind you. Right now, it's hard to just be. These are complicated, uncertain times.
Unsure, we have paused at the threshold of this doorway, scared to step forward into something bigger than ourselves. Like the Israelites at the shores of the sea, may we be brave enough to step into the water, so that we might emerge on the other side, stronger and more whole. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, and God shall reign forever and ever. Let this be our blessing.
Amen. It's like he was telling the future.
Or it just hasn't changed much. One or the other. I like your interpretation better. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Elianu anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh.
Hashkivenu, our prayer for shelter and really a prayer for healing too. It can be found on our supplements.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
wait for that moment every week.
Especially when we have this, our choir's warming up for the holidays.
And if you'd like to join the LBT choir, please
Let me know.
Please come chat with us afterward. Our Amidah, our Tefillah, begins on page 46. It's our standing prayer, which is really our prayer, not just of standing of body, but it's also really our prayer of standing closest to the divine in any way we can achieve that. That works for us. We'll recite the first few prayers together, beginning on page 46, and following it'll be a chance to just be in connection with ourselves, with the divine, with any sort of spiritual experience that we want to have and we feel comfortable with, or just a moment for silent meditation, either with the prayers on the pages or the prayers deep inside of us. We'll rise in all the ways that we're able, and we'll recite together.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata, Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, Melech memit u'mechaye u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kdoshim bechol yom yehalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Blessed love, holy love, sacred love, abundant love, source of love, let your love shine down on me. From below, from above, love I hope I'm worthy of, oh source of love, let your love shine down on me. Before the morning light, I already feel it shining. Before I open up my eyes, I already see it shining. When my road is rough, I can feel your love, and that's enough for me. Blessed love, holy love, sacred love, abundant love, source of love, let your love shine down on me. As above, so below, love from whom all blessings flow, source of love, let your love shine down on me. On me and the ones I love, shine from below and from above. Protect my family and be a light in me. Shine on me and the ones I love, shine from below and from above. Protect my family and shine through me. Be a light in me. Be a light in me. Love.
So good. Shabbat Shalom. A little story to begin. A few weeks ago, I went to the grocery store, as I do. Thank you. And I realized when I got there that we needed more salt. Now, there's an issue in my family in that I prefer the coarse grain salt, and Liz prefers the fine grain salt. So I decided we were out of all kinds of salt, and I figured I would do a nice thing, and I would purchase the fine grain this time. Lo and behold, when I arrived back home, Liz was sort of digging back behind the pantry, and she found deep within the pantry 3 pounds, one of the big ones, not a little one, 3 pounds of fine grain salt. Now we have 6 pounds of fine grain salt. Now we never need to buy salt again. What would our world be without salt? During the time of the rabbis, salt in the Middle East was as crucial to everyday life as any element that could have been. There was no refrigeration. Salt was used primarily as a preservative, especially for meat, as meat was prone to spoil in the desert environments in which the Jewish people lived. Nowadays, we have refrigerators, so generally we don't use salt to preserve our food, unless you have tried one of Rabbi Benjamin Ross's fantastic assortment of gravlax recipes, which I urge you to give yourself the gift of trying. It takes 2 days, but it's not a lot of prep time. Instead, today we still use salt, but not for preservation. We use it as primarily a flavor enhancer. We salt our pasta water, we salt our soups, I salted my lasagna yesterday, we salt our stir fries, we salt our barbecues. It's become a habit. It's become a habit of the Western world, one of not knowing or underestimating or overestimating how much salt we consume each day. Salt is a reminder of our health and the challenges that come with it. Salt is forever embedded in the understanding of what it is to be human. Now you might be thinking, where is Rabbi Goldberg going with this? What does this have to do with Torah? I'm going to do my best. We read in Torah this week the story of Korach. He is a Levite, and there are 2 other members of his clan, and they lead a coup against Moses and Aaron. And we might be familiar with this story in which Moses and Aaron hold all the power. They hold all the power of the sacrificial cult and ritual and any sort of leadership. And these rebels, led by Korach, they engage in a competition of who is worthy in the eyes of God to be leaders. And Moses and Aaron win, and Korach does not win, and he merits a fate that is something along the lines of like the ground opening up and swallowing him whole. However, as rich as this story is, there is more to this Torah portion that follows in Parshat Korach. It's not just this story, and it's often a story that we talk about all the time on Parshat Korach, but there's a little bit more, and I wanted to challenge all of us to go a little bit deeper than the primary story in the Torah portion. And it speaks to the Torah's wisdom and really this deep, beautiful metaphor about salt. And yes, the Torah has something to say about everything, including salt. So after this story of Korach, God speaks to Aaron and the priests. And God says, all of you are responsible for so many elements of Israelite life as you wander in the desert. You're responsible for the traveling tabernacle. You're responsible for the sacrifices and all the offerings that you have to give on the tabernacle. You're responsible for collecting all the first fruits and the firstborn animals and collecting the money from the redemption of the firstborn. And all of these offerings, the Israelites are commanded to set aside for God. And then the Torah states, Kol trumot hakodoshim asher yarimu v'nei Yisrael ladonai natati lecha. All of these trumot, all of these sacred gifts that the Israelites set aside for God, I'm going to give it to you and to your sons and to your daughters and to your children that are with you for all time. And before God and before your offspring as well, this shall be an everlasting covenant of salt. I saw some few heads cock. It's called in Hebrew a brit melach, a covenant of salt. What a strange phrase. I've heard phrases Like, these people are the salt of the earth, which means that these people are good, generous, dependable people. And I've heard in Italian the phrase "La diversità è il sale della vita," which means variety is the salt of life. But we translate in English to variety is the spice of life. Or it's that multitude of experiences make a life worth living. However, I have still never heard to this day the phrase "an everlasting covenant of salt." This phrase apparently comes from an earlier commandment in Leviticus, stating that the Israelites must season any and all sacrifices with a little bit of salt before they offer it. And this is what the Torah means when the Israelites are commanded to abide by God's covenant of salt. That's what the Torah says. There's a midrash, which was written probably 1,000 years later, which gives another explanation of what the use of salt could be in sacrifices. The midrash goes something like this. On the second day of creation, when God splits the sea from the sky, they are named in Hebrew as the shamayim and the mayim, the upper waters and the lower waters. So not actually the sky and the sea, but like the waters here and the waters up there. And in this midrash, the lower waters complain to God. So they all sort of collectively speak to God and they say, "This isn't fair. We want to be the upper waters. Like, why are we down in the lower waters? We want to be closer to God." And so God replies, "Okay, I'll see what I can do." And then God does whatever God does, probably creating other things, because it's the second day of creation. And God says, "Okay, lower waters, I'm going to make you a deal. I can't make you the upper waters. The upper waters already exist. But in exchange, what I'm going to do and what I'm going to promise is that any salt needs to be used, any salt that the Israelites have, they will be used for all the sacrifices for anything that is needed throughout all time." And so that means any sacrifice for God moving forward must rely on the lower waters, must rely on you as a way of drawing nearer to God. So although you are not close to me, I'm going to give you this opportunity to be close to me throughout all time whenever anyone offers a sacrifice. Our tradition really elucidates this nuance by expanding on the metaphor in the Midrash. Salt can be a positive agent in our lives. It can preserve or season food. It can give us sodium, which is necessary for functioning. However, on the contrary, salt can be destructive too. It can prevent plants from growing. It can act as a corrosive to plants, to the environment, and to our bodies. What I believe Judaism is trying to teach us through this metaphor of salt is that salt was actually meant to be a piece of spiritual sustenance for the Israelites for all time, starting with the second day of creation, moving onward. Salt is one way in which the ancient Israelites draw closer to God, but we learn that salt comes not without its drawbacks. So too, that which brings us spiritual sustenance, when we look into our own lives and we think about what gives us an experience, a spiritual experience, an experience of meaning, an experience of joy or connectiveness with something bigger than us, whether it's music or prayer or reading or nature, or connecting with others, or learning or study. That can help us draw closer to transcendence. However, too much of anything, like salt, can be a challenge for us. Sometimes steeping too deeply in spiritual sustenance can be exhausting or unhelpful or challenging. Perhaps there's a value of having balance in our lives. Being able to maintain a healthy balance of all facets of our versions of spirituality, whatever that means for us. Perhaps our versions of spirituality, and whatever they may be, those have an indelible impact on how we show up in the world. And lastly, just as important, perhaps Torah teaches us that we ought to be balanced and healthy too, but not for ourselves, but so that we can also show up in the world for other people too. When it comes to salt, the story of Erwin Chargaff is one worth telling. A 20th century Jewish biochemist and pioneer of our modern understanding of DNA, Chargaff was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the turn of the century. He learned English at a young age and immigrated to New York at the brink of the Holocaust. His life was spared. The fate of his family back in Europe, however, was not. As Chargaff witnesses the unhumanity that engulfs his family and the rest of the Jewish homeland then, he doubles down in studying hard science and humanities, seeking meaning from two of the most foundational faculties that make up all of life. He writes in his autobiography, he writes in his autobiography an understanding of how to approach a world full of complexity and nuance through our metaphor of salt. He writes, "Our understanding of the world is built up of innumerable layers. Each layer is worth exploring as long as we do not forget that it is one of many. Knowing all there is to be known about one layer, a most unlikely event, would not teach us much about the rest. We find ourselves in the cavern of limitless possibilities. Take a flashlight with you, and you may find you are only in a lumber room. If I know what I shall find, I do not want to find it, for uncertainty is the salt of life." Uncertainty is really the salt of life. And Shabbat is a perfect time to give ourselves the blessing of opportunities to steep ourselves in Torah in new ways, in ways that we might not have looked at it before. May we give ourselves the blessings of layers upon layers of spiritual sustenance in ways that may work for us, in ways that may be new to us. And may we season that sustenance with a healthy dose of balance. Shabbat Shalom.
One opportunity we have to steep ourselves in that connectedness, that spiritual connection with whatever it is that's out there, is to share blessings with those who are in need of those blessings most. So we take into our hearts anybody who is on your minds tonight, who are experiencing any kind of spiritual struggle or an emotional struggle or a physical struggle. We as a community can sit together and hold them close. So before we join into together in our prayer of Mishaberach, I'd like to invite anybody to share aloud names of those you're thinking of today, and we'll hold them close. Nancy? Nancy? Thank you. We'll take all of those names into our hearts and join together in our prayer for healing. Mishaberach can be found in the middle of page 253. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We'll offer a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those who are in need of healing. And we'll all say together, Amen. Our concluding service begins on page 282 with the Aleinu. We'll rise as we are able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד
Words to prepare us for Mourner's Kaddish can be found at the top of page 291. These are words written by our own Rabbi Richard Levy, Zichrono Livracha. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete. When those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were, in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words. And what they did is part of what we have become. We do our best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. As we recite Kaddish Yatom this evening, we especially remember our longtime congregant, Irene Howard, mother of Paul Howard, Gary Howard, and Lisa Goldberg, and grandmother of Hannah and Jacob, whom death has taken from us recently. We link her name with Daniel T. Bryce, Irene Broydad, Helen Broker, Milton Brucker, Betty Cantor Cowan, Tracy Antonovich Kuva, Harold Fry, Janice Garrison, Paul Geller, Belle Gold, Adele Goldenberg, Fred Green, Michael Green, Selma Groby Riddle, Richard Gunther, Marty Katz, Gloria Leonard, Rita Levin, Rabbi Richard Levy, Jack Bruce Littman, Fina Lodico, Arthur Lowenthal, Jackie Michaelov, Kathy Moore, Morris Neiman, Patricia M. Neiser, Louis Ortner, Don Rothenberg, Esther Schiffman, Daniel R. Schreier, Harold Tratner, David Wilkes, Rosette Wilson. If there are others whom you are thinking of this evening, please rise and share their names with us as a community. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. We'll rise together as one community. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'haye chon u'vyome chon, u'v'haye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei d'kudsha brichu. La'ila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbahata v'nehamata. Da'miran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shmaya. V'hayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. May the one who brings peace from the high realms to the realm in which we live also bring us love and comfort and spirit and hope, and most importantly, our loved ones too. Oseh shalom. We'll join together.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru, imru. Amen. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la ya la la, oh la 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 la, yai la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la ya la la. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru, imru. Amen. Ve'imru, amen. Ve'imru, imru. Amen. Ve'imru, imru. Amen.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom, everyone.
shalom.